Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ken. Pierre just served a hot plate of reality to a CBC reporter and put him on the spot, and he couldn't counter his questions. So let's take a look.
Rick Bell, Postmedia.
Hey Rick, do we still call you the Dinger?
Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me for dinner.
Okay.
We've been told in Alberta for weeks, if not months, that on Grey Cup week, that we would get a win in Alberta. And that win would be a pipeline to the West Coast. It would be significant commitment to action on the so-called 9 bad laws. And that would all happen Grey Cup week. That is to say, tomorrow. We are also told somehow there might be some sort of memorandum of understanding between the province of Alberta and Carney. That's just floating out there. I don't know if that's confirmed. What are your thoughts? Because for weeks, months, we've been promised that Grey Cup week, the Stamps aren't in, neither is Edmonton, but that Alberta would get a win on both of those files.
Well, tomorrow, it reminds me when you go into the pub, the Liberals are like that pub that has that sign on the wall that says free beer tomorrow. And so you come back the next day and it still says free beer tomorrow. And you keep coming back day after day for the promise of free beer, and the price of beer continues to rise and rise and rise. So they keep telling us that something is going to happen tomorrow. Mark Carney's been Prime Minister for 8 months, promising to move at, quote, unimaginable speeds. And yet there's not a single project that he has launched that was not already in the making or approved before he took office. Mark Carney needs to do only one thing for us to get a pipeline from Alberta to the Pacific. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. There are trillions of dollars of international investment crying out for the chance to build that pipeline without any government support. All they need is the federal government to stop blocking it. Repeal the get out of the way and repeal the 9 bad laws that block energy projects. Get out of the way and remove the ban on shipping oil off the northwest coast of BC, a ban that only applies to Canadians because, of course, American tankers can travel between Alaska and California in those very same waters, so why not allow Canadians to do the same? Get out of the way and get rid of the Liberal industrial carbon tax so that we can actually produce enough oil to fill a future pipeline. Get out of the way, Mark Carney, and do it now. It has been 8 months. We don't need Mark Carney to put on a hard hat and hold another photo op. He's had countless photo ops in the last 8 months, while investment flees and our industrial sector leaves to the United States of America. He's not got shovels in the ground on anything. Now, I suspect there will be some sort of quote-unquote memorandum. You know something? Memorandums don't pay the bills. We need shovels in ground. So Mark Carney should get out of the way and tell us on what date will shovels be in the ground on a new 1 million barrel a day pipeline from Hardship, Alberta to Prince Rupert or Kitimat, British Columbia. That's all he's got to do. Give us the date, show us where the shovel will hit the ground, and tell us on when it will happen. That is what we need to have. Get out of the way, Mark Carney. Monsieur, apparemment, demain, on va avoir les nouvelles. Avec les libéraux, c'est toujours demain. C'est comme le bar où ils ont une pancarte qui dit demain, il va y avoir de bière gratuite. Mais on arrive le lendemain et ça dit toujours que c'est demain que la bière deviendra gratuite. Et toujours, chaque jour, le prix augmente. Et c'est la même chose avec les ressources naturelles. Depuis son arrivée au pouvoir, il y a 8 mois, avec la promesse qu'il allait bâtir des choses avec une vitesse inimaginable. Il n'y a pas un seul projet en construction aujourd'hui qui n'était pas déjà là avant l'arrivée au pouvoir de M. Carney. M. Carney a besoin de faire une chose, se débarrasser du chemin. Il y a des billions de dollars privés prêts à bâtir des oléoducs, des pipelines, des mines, des ports, et j'en passe. Mais les lois libéraux bloquent ces projets. Il faut enlever les 9 lois anti-développement des libéraux pour libérer le chemin et permettrait aux investisseurs d'investir, aux constructeurs de construire et aux travailleurs de travailler. Donc, enlever les libéraux du chemin et permettrait notre économie d'être le plus riche et abordable au monde. Merci beaucoup.
Hey, Tim Brooks, CTV. You lost 2 MPs the week of the budget. One cited your leadership as a reason for leaving. I just want to put Carney and the Liberals to the side here and just ask you personally.
Of course you do.
Does this say anything about your leadership? Have you maybe reflected on your leadership style moving forward?
No, we are. My plan is to continue to lead and be the only leader in the country that's fighting for an affordable Canada, where our people who work hard can afford a home and food. That is my agenda. And I will just quote Mr. d'Entremont when he speaks about Mark Carney. He says, after 6 months under a new Prime Minister who promised financial discipline, Canadians are still waiting. He said that he would be judged by the cost of groceries at the store. Well, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed. He said this only a few months ago. Since the Liberals came to power, food prices are up 40%. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane, said Mr. d'Entremont, for a G7 country. So he said that Liberal food price inflation under Mark Carney was inhumane, and I couldn't agree more. And I feel badly for the inhumane conditions, to use his own words, that he is now supporting for his own constituents. But I won't just quote him. I'll quote Nate Erskine Smith, a Liberal MP, who now says that his children should not have to pay for Mark Carney's budget. Let me see here. Now to the bad and more fairly, where expectations were set at a level we failed to meet, including on the question of generational investments. The budget falls short of these specific promises in our platform, and it unfortunately falls well short of the wartime home-building effort that many of us thought we'd deliver. It's certainly not a budget that should throw us into an election on an uncertain time, but it does not live up to its promise of generational investments. He goes on to say that this is Mr. Nate Erskine Smith, a Liberal MP, that Mark Carney has broke his promise to spend less, with $90 billion of new spending, only 36% of which is actually capital. The rest is more costs. So when you have a Liberal MP attacking the costly credit card budget that Mr. Carney has put forward, then we see turmoil in the Liberals, and I know that there will be wall-to-wall coverage on CTV of this turmoil, of a Liberal MP criticizing his own budget days before the vote. I know you're camped outside his office right now, waiting to get comment from him. I know you've been chasing Mark Carney down hallways to find out what he has to say. I mean, it's just been the relentless coverage that you will have of this dissent within the Liberal Party. I understand also there's former Liberal Minister Guilbeault is unhappy with the environmental policies, that while he supports raising costs, he doesn't think they raise them enough. We've got Wilkinson is unhappy. So I know that I'm looking forward to seeing the wall-to-wall coverage on CTV of all of the costly turmoil in the Liberal budget. So I will be tuning in tonight to watch your newscast. Thank you.
Hi there, Sydney Fizard with Rebel News. Last year it was reported RCMP published a secret report suggesting Canadians may revolt once we realize how broke we are. This year, under Prime Minister Carney, we're approaching a $100 billion deficit. How close are Canadians to a breaking point?
Well, many are already broken. That's not the only report. The Liberal government, there was a leaked report that came out through Black Locks. Got very little media coverage, but it said basically liberal policies had us on track, so that Canadians will have to forage and hunt for food because they can't afford groceries. Like, this is in Canada. This is the talk that you would expect in an impoverished, overpriced third world economy. But that is the trajectory that the Liberals have us on. And this costly credit card budget of Mark Carney will make that even worse. Canadians can't afford life. They are absolutely desperate. Go into our streets and talk to people. Ask them about their lives. Their lives are falling apart because they cannot afford this costly government. And it is leading to major breakdown. Go onto the street not far from here. There's an encampment where people who've lost hope and have been broken are now addicted to fentanyl and are dying face first on the pavement on our streets. These are the real issues. This is why I'm in politics, to fight to give back the promise of our country that every single Canadian, whether they're a waitress, a welder, or a businessman, can have a good plate of food every single night, live in a nice house on a safe street. That's why we're in this business.
Thank you. Last question.
Aaron Collins, CBC. So Chris D'Entremont, just turning back to last week, said that your party is being run like a frat house. So I'm just curious what you think he means by that, and if you think
Well, I think that CBC had to be. Are you with CBC, by the way?
Yeah, that's what.
Oh, okay, right.
I'm just curious if you think that that could lead to more MPs leaving your caucus, and what you think he means by that.
Well, first of all, CBC has had to correct the falsehoods that they put into that story. So I encourage you to tell Canadians about the falsehoods you published and explain why you did that. But I would ask if you agree with Mr. D'Entremont, or do you believe he was telling the truth when he said, and I'm going to quote, "Now, after 6 months under a new Prime Minister who promised financial discipline, Canadians are still waiting." He said that he would be judged by the cost at the grocery store. Well, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed. Since the Liberals came to power, food prices have risen 40%. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate, and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane for a G7 country. Mr. D'Entremont said that Liberal food price inflation is inhumane. Do you believe that he was telling the truth when he said that? Yes.
Cricket.
Oh, you can.
Want to ask any questions?
I did already. I already said that your report from CBC was wrong, and we have corrected the record. We put out a statement. We stand by the statement. But I have a statement here from Mr. D'Entremont. He says, since the Liberals came to power, food prices have risen 40%. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate, and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane in a G7 country. Do you agree with Mr. D'Entremont that Mark Carney's food price inflation is inhumane?
So again, I asked you if you thought that if what you thought Mr. D'Entremont meant by your party being run like a frat house, whether or not you thought that would lead to more MPs leaving your caucus. That's the question for you, sir.
No. So I answered your question. And so the answer that I have back to you is that Mr. D'Entremont this is a quote from just a few months ago, where he said that Liberal food price inflation was inhumane. And you know what? He's right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
So the reporter did not expect Poilievre to have receipts to back up what he just said on the quote of the defective Conservative MP who crossed over to Liberal party there. So obviously the guy was stumped. It was one of those, like, he's trying to get another gotcha moment. You never see this kind of stuff with the Liberals at all. The CBC never asks hard questions at all. They never make them accountable. They've been like this slandering Poilievre for the last 2 weeks, and they've been doing their best to basically keep the eye of attention away from the deficit of the current deficit of the $78 billion deficit that the Liberal government is proposing. So we're going to see what's going to happen coming up this week, if anything, if they're going to be actually approving this this deficit, this budget, and see if it's actually going to help Canadians or not. But as you can tell, Canadians aren't doing any better at all. Under like 8 months, this guy, the Carney government's been in power, and the cost of living is going up. Chicken's going up 20%, and it's absolutely disgusting right now. So anyways, I thought you really enjoyed that one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Share this with friends and family. Time to wake everybody up a little bit. What's actually going on in this country. Time to have a pivotal turning point. Let's get going. I'll see you guys on the next one.